flippity flap, schnuckle whiz, tranquil hush, dibble flap, dibber whirl, fluffer nutter, dribble fluff, snuffle whirl, schnizzle whirl, quibble snickerdo, dingle whiz, flippity plap, tranquil flow, fizzle plunk, blipper noodle, flibber whiz, schnickle flap, flibber plop, snoodle plex, snickerdo, wampity whoop, doodle whisk, wobble flap, blipper whiz, flapple doodle, sniffle whirl, dribble plunk, zooble doodle, wobble whirl, snickerdoodle, schnickle plum, whizzle bop, frazzle dorf, jabber flap, schnizzle plum, shizzle wham, splatter wham, flippity whirl, blipper plap, doodle plap, bibber zabber, scrumble flap, snicker whip, flibber plum, bopple plum, splishy snort, splatter wump, snicker plap, bumble flop, blippity whiz, wobble whiz, wibble whirl, glimmer flap, fuzzle blab, splatter doodle, whizzle wump, whizzle plop, dribble plix, muddle flibber, babble flap, bopple whirl, blibber doodle, tranquil glimmer, whipple plop, wiggle flap, bibber blip, snuggle fluff, schnizzle plum, bippity plum, zigzaggle plump, noodle knuckle, blibber fluff, blippity floof, soothe sigh, serenity twinkle, snicker dork, wibble plum, blabble doodle, zonkle blip, blipper plum, whisper melody, zoodle whirl, ziggly whiz, snoodle whirl, snicker bop, zibber zibber, wobble flibber, fluffle whiz, dabble plap, zippity whiz, dibber jiggle, blippity whirl, sniffle plum, flibber glop, bippity doodle, gaza doodle, serenity glimpse, harmony whisper, soothe glimmer, sproinglet whist, blibber flox, bopple floop, gibber whiz, whipple plum, zibber doodle, bippity whirl, sproinglet whip, wobble plink, babble doodle, snicker flap, bibber whirl, sproingle dorp, flippity flip, gobble fizz, whirly wiggle, zibber whirl, zibber dorp, zoodle whirligig, ziggly wham, sizzle pop, snicker wump, puddle jump, whizzle flap, fuzzle wump, snuffle flap, bibber blabber, gaza whiz, dingle flib, noodle knock, flippity whiz, wobbly mopple, soothe harmony, whirly whip, murmur mellow, gibber whirl, glimmer flop, bibber whiz, zippity doo, dingle blort, wobble whiz, zonkle dorp, euphonic simmer, flibber flap, quibber flib, velvet whisper, scrumble fluff, bibber plink, bumble fizz, dibber diddle, quibber plum, woozle plum, gibber flap, dazzle crunch, muddle wop, doodle flib, tingling whisper, flap doodle, bibber blink, wimble whiz, snicker whiz, zibber zabber, whiffle doodle, doodle whirl, gibber doodle, snazzle wobble, serenity murmur, wobble fluff, wobble blip, whisper tranquil, zippetie plum, zooble whirl, dingle dorf, flibber jig, ziggly flap, snaffle plum, scrumpalip, melodicush, doodle flap, snooker blort, quibber plinkety, snoozle plum, zooble whiz, bopple fluff, dabble whiz, soothe quiver, schnuzzle plix, snicker zip, whiz bang, quibble snoot, fuzzle noodle, schnoodle wump, wibber wham, wimble whirl, blipper doodle, scrumpalump, fizzle blip, bopple plunk, flibber doodle, gibber fluff, bumble wham, blubber crunch, euphonic sigh, snicker whirl, snoozle whiz, doodle fluff, dibber whiz, whizzle whirl, snuffle plop, doodle whiz, sproingle dop, wobble fizzle, blubber doodle, snuffle whiz, harmony twinkle, calm quiver, wobble plap, gibber whirl, dingle whirl, flibber flop, sproinglet whirl, flappity flap, flibber wop, whisper glimmer, glimmer doodle, tingling lance, skippity dop, flibber glitz, dingle wham, quibber doodle, snazzle wop, doodle plum, schnoodle plum, whiffle flap, bippity whiz, doodle blip, wobble plum, flippity plum, fizzle crunch, bibble whiz, bippity flap, wiggle plum, calm glow, splishy splash, gibber whiz, bippity boop, snicker plink, wobble blort, wobble flap, murmur whisper, wibber flap, snicker plum, zibber whiz, flappity whirl, woozle whirl, dingle blip, flibber jabber, quibber flap, snicker flop, schnickle whiz, snazzle wump, zooble plum, wobble plap, wibble whiz, gibber plap, whipple plap, woozle flap, whipple whirl, doodle whip, lumple zip, snuffle plum, zoodle whip, glimmer wham, flippity blip, flappity plum, zigzaggle, bibble whirl, gobble wump, wibble flap, whiffle plop, flappity whiz, wiggle fluff, zippity whirl, whipple fluff, splishy splosh, wobble fuzzle, zonkle snort, snicker puff, wobble plix, wobble thump, muddle flump, bippity bop, jabberwocky, fuzzle bop, tranquil shimmer, splatterplix, bibber plap, tingling glow, snooker wop, puffle blorp, wumpity bump, whisper tranquil, splishy splosh, blibber wham, bopple wump, flappity flap, gibber plink, whipple fluff, ziggly twirl, glitzy snort, snickerdo, whibber wobble, doodle whirl, zippity whiz, zigzaggle plump, bopple plunk, babble doodle, snuffle plop, dabble whiz, puddle jump, bippity doodle, quibber dork, whiffle doodle, zonkle blip, flibber whirl, blipper fluff, flibber blip, blippity whirl, whiffle plum, calm glance, doodle flib, flibber jig, dabble flap, noodle knock, blubber wump, whizzle bop, snickerdoodle, wibble whiz, zonkle snort, whirly flap, flappity whirl, zooble whiz, bopple fluff, snaffle plum, tranquil shimmer, dingle wham, snazzle wump, fuzzle bop, whiffle plop, melodicush, dingle plop, dribble plunk, snuggle flop, fluff, wobble gloop, dibble flap, snicker plink, zippity doo, gibber fluff, doodle flap, wibble flap, snicker dork, sproingle dorp, flippity flap, splatter wump, flapple doodle, wobble plix, blabble doodle, dingle wump, soothe sigh, splatter wham, snicker plum, fizzle plunk, zoodle whirligig, bopple plap, whipple whiz, snicker whiz, bippity whiz, doodle plap, blipper plap, frazzle wham, flibber jabber, frazzle dorf, skippity dop, snicker zip, splishy snort, snicker dorp, ziggly flap, zooble doodle, glimmer flap, zigzaggle, blipper plum, tingling whisper, wobble flap, flibber whiz, snicker bop, gibber flap, wiggle fluff, dazzle crunch, noodle knockle, splishy splash, dingle dorf, bippity whirl, whizzle flap, wobble crunch, tingling glow, gibber whiz, whizzle flop, snicker flap, tranquil hush, flibber wop, gobble fizz, whisper quiver, flibber plop, sproingle dop, quibble snicker, snuffle flap, jabber whiz, whirly giggle, scruffle flop, snoozle whirl, wibber flap, shizzle wham, lumple zip, zippity whirl, whipple plop, wobble flibber, sproinglet whip, dingle whirl, snuffle whirl, snicker wump, wibble plum, doodle fluff, ziggly wham, schnoodle plum, gibber doodle, boppity blip, blipper noodle, snoodle whirl, whizzle wump, zibber blort, scrumpadoodle, glabber flap, zibber flap, dingle flib, plu flip flop, snoozle plum, flibber plum, wobble flap, flappity plum, serenity glimmer, zooble whirl, wobble fluff, schnoodle wump, zibber zabber, bippity plum, zibber whirl, wiggle plum, whirly wiggle, flappity whiz, bopple whirl, ziggly whirl, flibber plap, gibber plap, harmony whisper, doodle whiz, bloopity floof, snazzle wobble, snooker blort, snicker blip, bibble whiz, wobble whiz, doodle blort, jabber whirl, wobbly mopple, gibber flap, bumble flap, gibber whirl, dribble flux, fluffernutter, murmur harmony, whirly whiz, bibber blabber, bibber whiz, wobble fizzle, bibber whirl, bumble flop, babble plum, dribble fluff, dibber doodle, bopple floop, tingling lance, muddle flibber, doodle blip, flibber mop, blubber doodle, bumble wham, flibber flap, wibber wham, dabble plum, calm glow, wimble whirl, dibber jiggle, wiggle flap, quibble snoot, schnizzle whiz, woozle whiz, quibber plum, snicker puff, flippity whirl, bibber blink, more glitz, bibble whirl, schnizzle whirl, flibber flop, fuzzle wump, zippetie plum, bopple flap, whiffle whirl, dingle whiz, snuffle plap, dabble whirl, blibber fluff, gazadoodle, wibble whirl, zibber whiz, blibber flox, blimmer flib, schnickle whirl, whizzle plop, dingle floop, wobble blort, quibber flap, ziggly whiz, bippity boop, dibble whiz, woozle flap, snicker whirl, blibber dorp, dabble plap, jabber plap, zibber zibber, wobble plap, schnizzle plum, snuffle whiz, fuzzle blab, sniffle plum, gibber plum, wompity whoop, wobble whiz, soothe glimmer, dibber doo, schnickle whiz, lullaby murmur, schnickle plum, quibber flib, woozle plum, quibber plinkety, whiz bang, blipper doodle, zooble flap, dingle bop, schnookle whiz, snicker whip, babble whiz, bibber plink, bippity bop, dingle plix, zibber doodle, whipple flap, fizzle blip, zoodle whip, snazzle wop, euphonic simmer, sniffle whirl, gazawiz, doodle plum, spuddle boop, puddle flop, flap doodle plop, splatter doodle, whiffle flap, splatter plix, babble whirl, wobble thump, sizzle pop, schnizzle plum, serenity glimpse, flibber flab, bippity flap, quibber doodle, serenity murmur, wobble whirl, flibber glitz, scrumpalip, dibber diddle, whirly whip, glimmer wham, snuffleuff, flippity plap, blibber doodle. Wobble flap, ziggly flap, blipper doodle, bibber whirl, glimmer flop, zooble whiz, schnozzle plix, snazzle wop, wobble thump, wobble plum, whipple fluff, scrumpalip, dibber doodle, flibber jig, wibble flap, flibber plap, babble whirl, schnizzle whirl, snooker wop, dibble whiz, wobble fizz, melodic whisper, spuddle boop, fuzzle wump, quibber plap, whiffle flap, snicker wump, dingle blip, wobble flibber, zooble flap, whizzle plop, doodle plum, wobble flap, muddle flump, zooble doodle, whizzle flop, quibber plinkety, gibber plink, gibber fluff, bippity boop, doodle whiz, flibber flop, soothe quiver, splishy splash, fizzle crunch, snuffle whirl, flappity whirl, tranquil hush, dazzle crunch, snicker plink, wobble plap, dribble fluff, jabberwocky, snicker puff, wiggle fluff, blubber doodle, snuffleuff, zonkle dorp, snicker whip, tingling whisper, glabber wump, wobble fuzzle, zippity woo, whisper glimmer, fluffle whiz, flibber glop, wimble whirl, woozle flap, flibber whiz, calm whisper, snuffle plap, ziggly whiz, glitzy snort, snooker blort, melodic cush, bibble whiz, snazzle wump, doodle fluff, murmur mellow, zippity doo, whisper lullaby, flippity flip, whirly flap, splishy wham, snazzle wobble, sniffle whirl, tingling glow, tranquil glimmer, scrumble fluff, wompity whoop, flippity flap, schnoodle wump, dingle whiz, soothe glimmer, muddle flibber, wobble whiz, dabble plap, zibber blort, jabber whirl, murmur harmony, schnickle whiz, blibber bop, zippity whiz, harmony whisper, whizzle flap, snuffle plop, fuzzle blab, whipple flap, wiggle plum, flibber plum, snuffle flap, snicker flap, sproingle dorp, puffle blorp, blippity whiz, schnoodle plum, zigzaggle, blubber crunch, schnizzle plum, bumble whirl, snoozle whiz, dingle wump, wobble fluff, whirly whiz, puddle jump, noodle knock, whiffle plum, serenity glimpse, whiffle whiz, wobble whirl, wibber flap, splishy splosh, bippity flap, fizzle plunk, flippity blip, doodle flib, soothe sigh, wobble whiz, schnickle plum, scrumpalopple, lullaby gleam, whipple plap, flippity plum, bopple flap, glabber flap, snicker plap, woozle whiz, flibber glitz, calm glance, frazzledorf, blabble doodle, wobble flox, doodle plap, bibber zabber, dingle blort, dingle floop, woozle plum, bopple whirl, dibble flap, quibber flap, bibble whirl, serenity glimmer, quibble snicker, sproinglet whist, whisper tranquil, flibber jabber, flappity plum, flibber flap, flippity whiz, blipper whiz, wobble plix, boppity blip, dingle bop, glimmer wham, dabble plum, zippity plum, quibber flib, blippity floof, snicker dork, blipper plum, tingling lance, blipper noodle, wibble plum, blipper flap, quibber doodle, snuggle fluff, snicker dorp, flappity flap, dribble flox, zoodle whirl, soothe harmony, babble plum, bippity bop, wobble plum, whizzle bop, blipper fluff, doodle whirl, wobble gloop, wimble whiz, gibber whirl, blibber fluff, bumble flap, schnickle whirl, snickerdo, snaffle plum, bopple plum, blubber wump, doodle blip, gibber whiz, wobble plink, whiz bang, scrumble flap, wiggle flap, quibble snickerdo, bopple plunk, zonkle blip, babble whiz, flibber blip, flapple doodle, puddle flop, dabble whiz, zoodle whirligig, flibber whirl, flibber plop, bopple floop, glimmer flap, dibber do, schnickle flap, splatter doodle, gibber flap, bippity doodle, whirly giggle, flappity whiz, gobble wump, doodle flap, sproinglet whip, doodle plop, scrumpalump, blipper plap, bippity plum, bibber whiz, snuffle whiz, splatter wump, dingle whirl, whirly whip, serenity gleam, calm glow, bopple wump, morglitz, whipple plum, zooble whirl, blibber doodle, wumpity bump, zippity whirl, zonkle snort, flibber wop, dibber whirl, flibber mop, zibber doodle, flibber flab, sproinglet whirl, wobble crunch, dibber whiz, doodle blort, flippity whirl, zigzaggle plump, snoodle whirl, flippity plap, doodle whisk, splatter plix, blipper whirl, sproingle dop, splishy snort, gibber flap, wibble whiz, velvet whisper, whiffle whirl, scrumpadoodle, gibber plum, blibber flox, whisper quiver, bippity whiz, sizzle pop, snicker flop, gibber whiz, bopple whiz, blimmer flib, bumble flop, whisper melody, serenity twinkle, harmony twinkle, bibber plink, flibber doodle, dibber diddle, gazza whiz, whiffle doodle, dingle wham, zibber whiz, gibber plap, bibber blink. Wiggle fluff, splishy wham, quibble snicker, flibber plum, bibber zabber, blipper doodle, tingling glimmer, blippity whirl, zigzaggle plump, velvet whisper, gaza doodle, woozle whirl, wimble whiz, dingle bop, bopple whirl, quibble snickerdo, quibber plum, dingle floop, bopple floop, snoozle whiz, scrumble flap, wobble plum, zibber doodle, scrumble fluff, jabber whirl, serenity gleam, zibber zibber, dazzle crunch, wibble whiz, whipple plop, whipple plap, lullaby gleam, wobble flibber, babble plum, fizzle plunk, blibber wham, bumble whirl, zonkle snort, wibble plum, bibber plink, dribble plunk, schnickle plum, flibber whirl, flippity whirl, blibber flox, wobble fuzzle, calm whisper, quibber flap, scrumpadoodle, zooble doodle, snooker wop, zippity woo, zibber flap, wobble flox, jabber plap, splatter doodle, murmur mellow, snazzle wop, whipple plum, gibber plum, doodle blort, snicker wump, whisper melody, muddle flibber, glitzy snort, babble whiz, flippity flip, bippity plum, whizzle wump, zooble flap, bibber whirl, snoozle whirl, flibber doodle, sproingle dop, wobble flap, calm glow, bibber blabber, bibble whirl, flappity whirl, zonkle flop, fuzzle wump, blippity plum, dribble fluff, dingle dorf, wumpity bump, sizzle pop, whiffle whiz, whirly flap, schnizzle whiz, flibber flop, bumble flap, zippity whirl, zibber zabber, schnickle flap, wobble crunch, blipper fluff, flibber plop, snicker plap, flappity whiz, schnuckle whiz, puddle jump, wibble flap, wobble plix, ziggly twirl, soothe harmony, bopple fluff, wobble thump, doodle whiz, flap doodle, woozle plum, babble doodle, fluffer nutter, gibber fluff, gobble fizz, glimmer wham, schnizzle plum, wobble flap, bibber whiz, snicker whip, snoodle plix, quibber doodle, tranquil glimmer, wobble gloop, blibber doodle, scrumpalump, soothe sigh, schnickle whiz, dibber jiggle, whizzle bob, whipple whiz, flappity plum, blibber fluff, whisper quiver, wobble plap, flappity flap, dibber diddle, dibber whirl, serenity twinkle, dabble plap, flibber flap, dabble whirl, dingle wham, snicker whirl, gibber whirl, wibber wham, snoozle plum, quibber plinkety, bloopity floof, quibble snoot, wiggle flap, flibber jig, dabble plum, wobbly mopple, bibber blip, gibber plum, serenity glimmer, whiffle plum, skippity scoop, zoodle whip, dibber doodle, bopple whiz, whirly whiz, bopple wump, soothe quiver, calm quiver, blubber crunch, whizzle flop, whiffle plop, melodic hush, lumple zip, wobble fluff, splishy splosh, wobble plap, tranquil hush, doodle plum, snickadoo, bippity bop, dribble flocks, whiffle whirl, tingling lance, fizzle crunch, whizzle plop, jibber whirl, skippity dop, zooble plum, flibber jabber, wobble fizzle, flippity flap, whirly wiggle, fuzzle noodle, snicker blip, splatter wump, sniffle plum, schnizzle whirl, dabble flap, schnoodle wump, wobble whiz, snuffle plap, harmony twinkle, bumble wham, wibber wobble, dingle plop, doodle plop, shizzle wham, snicker bop, snoodle whirl, snicker plum, dabble whiz, snicker dork, snicker puff, wibble whirl, doodle whirl, blipper plap, whipple flap, zippity plum, snickerdoodle, gibbet blink, blipper noodle, splishy splash, bippity flap, whisper glimmer, flippity plap, whirly giggle, tingling whisper, bibber blink, snuffle plop, doodle whip, blimmer flib, blubber wump, morglitz, wobble plink, dingle plix, splishy snort, fuzzle bop, scrumper lip, wibber flap, springle dorp, bippity boop, fizzle blip, zipper dorp, snuffle-luff, muddle wop, blibber dorp, zooble whirl, zippity whiz, glimmer flop, frazzle dorf, whipple fluff, flippity whiz, flibber mop, blipper whiz, wiggle plum, snicker whiz, wobble whirl, flibber wop, tranquil flow, bippity doodle, zooble whiz, harmony whisper, snuffle flap, fluffle whiz, dingle whirl, bippity whirl, ziggly whirl, bippity whiz, zonkle dorp, puffle blorp, ziggly flap, snazzle wump, dibble whiz, flibber glitz, jibber whiz, jabber whiz, gobble wump, flibber whiz, murmur whisper, flibber flab, dingle wump, spuddle boop, whizzle flap, blibber bop, scrumpalopple, flippity plum, euphonic shimmer, zonkle snicker, bopple flap, snuffle whiz, quibber flib, blipper flap, snaffle plum, dibber whiz, sproinglet whip, wobble plum, wobble blort, doodle plap, dibble flap, whiffle flap, snicker plink, serenity glimpse, bibble whiz.
Doodle whiz, skippity scoop, snoozle plum, blippity plum, bibber zabber, blibber bop, glitzy snort, zippity whirl, splishy snort, doodle blip, wobble flux, zippity whiz, snicker flop, wobble gloop, shizzle wham, murmur whisper, bippity plum, schnizzle whiz, quibble snoot, jabber plap, whipple flap, wobble blort, bumble flop, bupple plap, doodle whisk, glabber flap, glimmer wham, fluffer nutter, snazzle wop, wibber wobble, doodle flib, blippity whirl, bibble whirl, scrumper lip, tingling lance, bibble whiz, calm glow, wobble thump, snicker whirl, bippity whirl, whisper melody, quibber plap, wibble flap, zonkle snort, gibber fluff, whisper quiver, whiffle flap, gibber plink, flibber wop, flappity whiz, zibber dorp, dibber diddle, zibber flap, tranquil glimmer, harmony whisper, schnickle flap, bippity doodle, snuffle plum, whiffle plop, dingle bop, blubber wump, blipper fluff, whiffle whirl, soothe sigh, springle dop, muddle flump, bibber blink, serenity glimpse, babble plum, flibber blip, wobble blip, dingle whirl, flippity blip, calm quiver, flibber jig, gobble wump, flippity whirl, wobble plum, snicker zip, doodle flap, gazadoodle, whirly whiz, wobble fizzle, snuggle fluff, snoozle whirl, gibber whirl, wobble flap, dabble whiz, gibber flap, scrumble flap, snuffle whirl, wobble flibber, woozle whiz, snooker wop, fuzzle noodle, dazzle crunch, wimble whirligig, jabber flap, doodle fluff, lumple zip, dingle plop, bumble flap, flippity flip, zoodle whip, tingling glimmer, wobble plix, whisper tranquil, zibber doodle, bippity flap, flibber glitz, lullaby gleam, murmur mellow, serenity twinkle, wobble plap, frazzle dorf, bloopity floof, woozle whirl, schnizzle plum, dribble flocks, wibble plum, muddle wop, bumble fizz, snazzle wump, zooble doodle, skippity dop, zooble flap, ziggly twirl, soothe quiver, whizzle flop, quibber dork, doodle plop, whiffle plum, springlet whist, snicker puff, whizzle flap, dibble flap, serenity glimmer, ziggly whirl, puffle blorp, flibber plop, snuffle plap, whirly giggle, blabble doodle, dibber whirl, whizzle wump, bibber plap, whiz bang, dingle blort, wobble whiz, sniffle whirl, schnoodle wump, flap doodle, splishy splosh, snicker plap, blippity whiz, bippity bop, jabber whiz, bopple wump, snoodle whirl, whizzle whirl, dribble plix, fluffle whiz, zippity plum, schnizzle whirl, puddle jump, springlet whirl, schnizzle plum, blipper noodle, blipper whiz, bobble flap, fizzle blip, quibble snickerdoo, wibber wham, sniffle plum, dabble plum, dribble fluff, blubber doodle, ploo flip flop, flippity flap, wobbly mopple, puddle flop, schnickle whirl, zibber blort, quibber flib, zooble whiz, flibber flop, splatter wham, whizzle plop, dibble whiz, snicker wump, dabble plap, soothe harmony, boppity blip, splatter plix, wumpity bump, dingle wump, bopple plum, whiffle doodle, whipple plum, whirly wiggle, splishy wham, ziggly whiz, flibber whiz, jabberwocky, wibble whiz, velvet whisper, whisper lullaby, gibber doodle, schnoodle plum, wumpity whoop, whipple whiz, quibble snicker, scruffle flop, snicker whip, snickerdoo, gaza whiz, ziggly wham, zonkle dorp, dingle floop, snazzle wopple, frazzle wham, schnozzle plix, flapple doodle, scrumpalopple, wobble flap, zibber zabber, dabble whirl, wibble whirl, snicker whiz, snoozle whiz, whirly whip, quibber flap, bibber blip, snicker flap, flibber whirl,
zibba zibba, bibba plink, jabba whirl, snuffleuff, splishy splash, blibber wham, wimble whirl, glimmer flap, dingledorf, zigzaggle, fuzzle blab, gobble fizz, wiggle fluff, wobble crunch, tingling whisper, bopple plunk, quibbadoodle, glimmer doodle, dingle whiz, doodle blort, snuffle flap, zippity woo, dibber jiggle, bippity boop, whisper glimmer, schnickle whiz, dribble plunk, dibber whiz, fizzle crunch, dibber doo, bibber whiz, wibber flap, tranquil hush, scrumpalump, snickerdorp, blipper plum, blipper doodle, wobble plink, schnickle plum, gibber whiz, flibber plum, ziggly flap, gibber plap, gibber flap, bibber blabber, babble doodle, flappity whirl, snicker plum, zippity doo, euphonic shimmer, woozle plum, bumble wham, fuzzle wump, flibber doodle, doodle whirl, noodle knock, bopple whirl, snickerdoodle, flibber plap, doodle plap, bippity whiz, bopple fluff, spuddle boop, zoodle whirligig, dingle blip.